is the Apparelist podcast, designed to bring you real-life conversation about high-level topics relevant to the decorated apparel community.
Hey, what is up, Apparelist family? It is time for yet another Apparelist podcast episode. We're here to bring you high-level discussion on business topics that help your shop run at top performance. And today it is all about the art of preparation. So we're recording this episode. It's our September episode. We're already in the thick of fall season, but we all know what that means. Holiday orders are knocking at the door. I've always been a fan of living in the moment, but in this scenario, if you aren't already prepping for the final fall orders and gearing up for winter and the holidays, you're probably behind. That's just the long and short of it. So here to talk about this topic in detail today are my fabulous guests. We have David Clifton. David, you're a well-known name on the show, but why don't you say hey to everybody?
Hello, Cassie, and hello, Perilous Nation. Happy to be here and be back and teeing up the seasonal selling season, I guess, the selling season. And excited to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then joining us today, a very special guest. We don't get to talk to him very often. Mark Held, also of Alpha Broder. Mark, it's really nice to have you.
It is. Thank you for having me. I know David has worked with you, Cassie, a lot, and I'm thrilled to be here. You guys have, I think today's topic is true and dear to my heart. So I'm looking forward to the discussion points and excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just dive in. I mean, as I mentioned in the intro, as this podcast episode airs, it's September, which is really hard to think about, which means we're already into fall season, fall orders. Decorators have probably been working on fall orders, I think back to school, football season, all that good stuff, right? All of the things that you conjure up. So, Mark, in your opinion, what's the benefit to getting ahead of any seasonal order, not just fall, but any seasonal order?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, first of all, obviously with decorators, it helps smooth out demand, but I'll put my sales hat on, right? I think when you're reaching out to somebody in advance and not reacting, right, you can give them a lot more idea generation, right? You might be able to upsell them. You might be able to get them in a different product. Also, you're in first, right? The last thing you want is them shopping many others. You're having that conversation to start out. And it could be as simple as you want to follow up. They gave you a nice order last year. They gave you a holiday order, a fall order. Getting to them 60 to 90 days ahead of time, reminding them, placing some really good ideas with them. Maybe, our goal as salespeople should always be to try to grow a customer. And maybe last year they got a short sleeve t-shirt. This year, you get them in the long sleeve, you get them into fleece, a jacket. And I think it gives time versus that rush aspect of having a conversation. And you're more proactive than reactive, which at the end of the day is really good for everybody's bottom line.
Yeah. David, we talked about this a little bit last year too. I mean, we've talked about the selling seasonally. I mean, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think Mark brings up the right point. It really is about getting ahead of it and doing your customer service by getting ahead of it. As we know, end users tend to delay things. And so I think being proactive and reaching out is not only good for your business, but it's actually a great service to offer your end customer.
So I kind of mentioned my mind right now is kind of on back to school. I mean, I have kids, everybody who has kids is like, back to school. I mean, our school did these cool custom water bottles that we had to order ahead of time, which was, fun, custom headwear, all that stuff. But, Mark, we kind of talked about this in the intro. Just because the fall orders are happening now, we should probably be thinking about some other things that are going to be happening in a few days, few weeks from now. What else then now, specifically do decorators need to be preparing for?
Yeah, well, first of all, you said it early on, like you should always be thinking ahead. So, it sounds simple, but maybe you're talking about a fall order now. And maybe on top of the box as a thank you, you give them a different promotional products item, or you give them something that you didn't think they were thinking of, or just an idea. Not only are you saying thank you, but you're giving the opportunity that maybe something they didn't think about, right? And you're getting the wheels turning, right? So use today's order as an opportunity to sell ahead. We should be talking holiday now. Obviously, back to school, fall sports, winter sports, but holiday, employee and customer appreciation. And to me, your business is always better if you're more consultative, your solution selling, than if just about price. Getting ahead of orders now doesn't mean you have to give a discount. To me, it's you're able to give them more quality time more recommendations and ideas for them to look at. And when somebody looks at you as more of a resource, sales resource, you help them with their business, it's just best for everybody. So to me, think about spring, right? Doesn't mean, give them an extra, give them that idea and just plant the seed early.
Oh, I love that. I want to kind of backtrack a little bit to what you said is like, you're not just a decorator, you're a consultant. Like you be that person they rely on. So like, other than recommending stuff ahead of time, I mean, what are some other like maybe sales tips or what are some other tips? Because I feel like sometimes we tend to get stuck in like that. I'm just the decorator, I'm just the printer mode. But how do you be the trusted resource?
Yeah, so I think, one, you do want to look at what are the unique products and what are different deco techniques, ideas, different recommendations. But, we all get busy. But do we have time to actually go back and look at their website? Is this the time of the year where maybe a decorator can do a business review? And maybe they're a contract decorator, so they have a business review with the promotional products company that's selling to the end user, or they're working with the end user to say, what's changed? What's coming up? What should I know about? Right? You have to reset because post-COVID, the one thing I've learned in our business and others, things change quickly, right? There's new people in organizations. Somebody may be in charge today. They're not tomorrow. So kind of do that reset and then find that opportunity. And the chances that somebody's probably getting 100% of a customer's business, right? There's others. Let's face it, we all have good competitors out there. And it gives you an opportunity to just come into it at a different level. And we all, decorators have those busy crunch times of the year where it's just, right, I get it, you're reactive. Try to find that opening where you can spend time, if you can get in front of them. And you'll always find something about their business that you weren't aware of. You want to have questions, you want to ask them some direct questions. But through those questions comes opportunities. And that's what you're looking for.
Oh, I love that. Before I really want to explore that a little more, but a thought just popped into my head and I want to talk about it now while it's still in my head, because otherwise it will escape into the atmosphere and be gone forever. David, something we've talked about a lot with you all is the topic of print on demand, POD orders and things like that. So as much as we prepare, something Mark said is there's always going to be something that changes or something that quickly happens. So how do you see POD really fitting in the mold of like these seasonal orders, these last minute quick orders when things do change?
I think servicing for demand, you're talking about, we think our business is seasonal. Print on demand is extremely seasonal. So for the months of September, October, November, and even into December a little bit, print on demand is really at the high seasonality. So I think it plays a key role. And for most decorators, it's about determining, do you want to be part of that demand chain? Do you want to plug into a print on demand platform? Do you want to look at that as a demand opportunity for you? And how do you do that? How do you get involved with that now? I'd say we're probably a little bit late for it now, but it's like looking at that. And I'm sure a lot of decorators who are interested in that channel have already teed up the concept of that. But yeah, print on demand is important in that aspect of it from the true print on demand. Print on demand, I think, inside of a shop can also help smooth out orders. Something goes wrong, something goes sideways. You can use that to kind of fill in some of the stuff as well. So it's a really great tool to have, not only from external demand, but also servicing your customer in a more kind of personalized and real-time way.
Yeah, and speaking of real time, that kind of leads me to my next question, Mark. Obviously, we all prepare and we're looking ahead to orders, while simultaneously still focusing on doing the current orders, fulfilling what we've already have, in the can and things like that. So how would you say decorators can not only successfully start preparing for like a busy holiday season, but also stay on top of their current orders?
First of all, it's all about execution, right? And you're probably not going to get that holiday order if you don't execute today for them. And, I'm sure decorators maybe they're dealing with the team, but that coach has a business somewhere else, right? So how are they intertwining the two, right? There's a lot of coaches that, they're doing it. It's a volunteer position. But I think it's preparation plus follow-up. to me is the definition of success, right? So you have to prepare your demand. You have to make sure that you have capacity. I think the nice part about getting to customers now, every printer has that rush, that max time. Maybe POD is post Thanksgiving. Maybe it's that holiday rush. But getting some orders now, it helps you with your demand flow, your capacity planning. And again, I think it gives you the different opportunity to reach out to those customers that we've talked about. But you got to be able to do it on both. But a good plan starts with preparation plus follow-up.
Yeah. You guys kind of have your finger in the automation world and things like that. I know this particularly with some of the alpha broder distribution centers and things like that. I mean, how does automation tools and AI play into that?
Yeah, I mean, so both sides. First of all, in our distribution centers, we've used robotics to help us plan it, and it's not only from an employee experience, but from a service perspective, it's allowed us to manage our workflow. Employees want to know how many hours they're working when they're working them, right? It's not fair to say somebody I needed 12 hours today or 8 hours tomorrow. We've used also automation to allow us to train and ramp up quicker for our employees. But we use AI from a customer service perspective and sales perspective. There's a lot of things that customers shouldn't have to ask us. We can get them the answers, right? Really easy for themselves. We've also looked at AI that somebody asks us a question, how do we get it to them real quick, right? Does it pop, screen pops? And when you think about it, it's speed to market, right? It's about customers, the end users, they just want it quicker, right? So how do we leverage everything we're doing to do it right, but do it quicker for the end user?
The topic of quicker, on demand. I wanted it yesterday. This is total sidetrack.
Right.
Right. Like it's so funny that we talk about this. Like I ordered some coffee from this coffee shop in actually Philly that I really love. And it was supposed to show up yesterday and it didn't. And I was like, oh man, so disappointed, right? Like we talk about that all the time. It's same with apparel. And I think that this kind of plays into that topic of inventory and things like that, because when you're trying to fulfill a rush holiday order, or you're doing all these things, inventory, especially post-COVID, can be a challenge, right? And so I think that probably is something too, is think ahead, right?
Yeah. So when you think, when you look at inventory, for the most part today, we're in really good inventory position. So you look at COVID supply chain dried up, then you had an overabundance of inventory. Now it's pretty much where it needs to be, but there's always those products that you just can't judge demand. Mm-hmm. So to me, maybe it's a type of outerwear or it's something, the earlier you can get a customer to take it, you're securing that order, right? And you're getting them. And to me, when I reach out to our customers, it's like, hey, let's get this off your plate. You don't have to worry about it. Now, I mentioned early on, the thing that you don't want to do is immediately go to a lower price or terms that affects working capital to get that order. I think it's more of, hey, let's get it now. There's inventory. Let's get it done for you. And let's be a little bit more creative. Because, think about that person that's placing holiday orders. A lot of times it's easy for them to say, hit the button what I got last year. But we want to grow the business. We should be offering something different, give them a way to tie that up with that. But why stress about it, right? And there's always a color or a style or something. And, in apparel, if you have 5 sizes, but you're out of one, you're out of the entire program, right? So just get ahead of it. But we feel really confident about inventory for the fall. But make it easy on us and you if you get those orders in early.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, hey, it helps everybody be more prepared, because if I'm the procrastinator person trying to get my employees their stuff, I'm gonna feel better if I order it early.
And then, I don't know about you, but there are times when rush happens, you forget or something comes up, but to me, I hate that anxiety of feeling rushed. Get it done. And then talk about planning your business. Maybe you get the order, but you don't have to place the order right away with us, or you have to decorate it. You have it. You can watch inventory. You can judge your demand. And maybe it's something where you fill it in when you have a slow day. That's where I print that, or that's where I run the embroidery. So I think, again, getting ahead of things just helps everybody.
Yeah. Something that you had said earlier sort of also struck a chord with me, because we've been talking about this. It just wraps in to all these topics we've been talking about a lot, and that's the topic of pricing. And so how does pricing, play a role? Because, ordering ahead of time, might get you a good price or whatever, but then you start looking at rush orders and decorators have to accommodate it. So in your opinion, if you are having to accommodate for rush orders, should a decorator increase pricing? I mean, what does that look like? Because I feel like the pricing thing is always very complex.
Again, in looking at your business, if you have time, the last thing you want to do is lower your price or give something in return. You want to be offering solutions, additive cells, right? You're the expertise. That's worth money, right? You're an expert in how you print and the product side of what you're doing with it for your customer. But you also got to make sure, to me, your upsell is that extra idea or that solution sell for what you're doing. So, don't lower your standards. Rush orders, as you mentioned, as you get tighter and closer to, let's call it holiday. Yeah, and if it's a really good customer, we all do things for those customers, right? But charge, right? Because you're going to have to bring in overtime. Your business costs are most likely going to go up. You're in the busiest time of the year, so you have to. We all have the customer we'll do something for, but most part, you're going to charge for it. But I think, rush is an opportunity. It can also be a margin enhancer for our customers, right? And things happen, but I think if I put myself. What I always say to myself, my job is to help make our customers' life easy, right? So part of that is just getting ahead of it, reminding them, right? Not just ideas, but because you don't want to put them in that position, right? And no one wants to have to charge more, but there's times when you need to do it. So again, that's where this call is all about, getting ahead of things. That's where that really helps out.
Right. Well, and I would think that would be particularly true, especially when you think of like holiday orders, in particular, like corporate orders and things like that. There's a lot of personalization going on. So that requires extra effort. And that requires so like getting ahead of those things is only going to help everybody again in the long run.
There is a lot of personalization, right? Time is money, right? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious too, another point you had brought up, Mark, was this topic. You mentioned it for, internally at Alpha Broder, but I think that this applies to really anyone working, running a business in the apparel decoration industry and probably even beyond. But this plays into staffing, right? Is like when you're not prepared, you're starting to put like tons of extra like pressure and time and things like that. This impacts your employees. I mean, how do you really, does it play into taking care of your staff? I mean, I have to think
there's always seasonal ramp up, right? That's going to be part of business. That's part of, holiday retail in general. But, you don't want to have to, that ramp up should be planned. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't be rushed with what you're doing. So, for us, looking at overtime and demand, I mean, that if we're going to have that, we want to know the seasonality of our business. And it's very tough to ramp up demand in 48 hours, right? You get those orders, you get those rushes. You're not hiring and training, and you want a consistent and happy workforce, right? That giving somebody 2 days and they're off for a couple of days. So again, it allows you to plan that seasonality of overtime. And in some cases, maybe if you can get certain orders ahead of time, you don't need as much of it.
Right. And I know that this is totally not the same as a seasonality order, but I always have to think of like a Super Bowl win or a Stanley Cup win or things like that. I mean, kind of the same principles, right?
Hot market, right? Hot market, right? And there's companies that excel at that in our industry, right? And that will always come up, but there's planning behind that, right? There's planning that you got to make sure that you have the color of the team. They're specific to that color, right? It can't be a certain color red. It has to be exact red. You're printing that stuff in 12, 18, 24 hours. So there's certain variables that you're going to pay, but you're paying for that, right? You're getting paid for doing that. But hot market business, to me, it's very intriguing. I think the companies that execute that in our industry are absolutely amazing to get that done and get it done right in that time period. No, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, there's different, we're talking about planning rush, but there's certain things you can't avoid.
Pricing. And I think, Mark's in sales, so he's always trying to get a sale. He gets a lot of pressure to cut price and things like that, which we do strategically. But I would just say, it's easy for me to say from the marketing side, you should definitely charge for it. Print on demand, there's value there. Personalization, real time, that's true value add. And Mark made the points on some of the costs you may be incurred to do that, but you should definitely charge for that. And I think proudly charge for it and do a great job with it. And then all of a sudden your customer, they don't mind. They're going to get what they need when they need it in a high quality. So I think you stand behind it and do that. And it's like in our business, you take advantage of people maybe not planning and, be that service, be that outlet for them. So I definitely think you should charge for things like that.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask you guys, we all talk about the planning and the preparation and things like that, and talking about, while you're processing the fall orders, be communicating about how you can fulfill holiday orders and things like that. Let's just really fast talk about what happens after all is said and done. The craziness has died down, the lull of January and blah, blah, blah. Like, what should we then be? Should we still be preparing? Is there like follow-up that decorators should be doing?
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at everything as an opportunity, right? So maybe it's an opportunity as an organization, you're redoing your playbook. I would think every company every year resets their strategy, their playbook. That's how we look at it. And, we use that time, and this industry used to have really slow times. Now I would say you just have slightly off season, right? I mean, you're consistent all year round, but post-holiday, January, February tend to be slower times. That's where we're making sure we're getting in front of our team, our customers. We're having the longer conversations, right? No one's rushed. So it allows you to set your full year strategy. Hopefully you're working on that now, and it's all about executing and fine tuning it. But you're having those conversations, right? Maybe you're having employee performance reviews. You're working with your team, everything like that, right? Maybe you're doing team building at that time of the year, but it's free. To me, you have a slow period. You take some time off, enjoy it, but use it as a slingshot for the rest of your year.
All right, guys. Well, we don't have a lot of time left, but one thing very quickly, we are dropping this episode right before Printing United Expo, woo! Which is crazy because this year it's a little bit earlier, September 10th through 12th. Alpha Broder has been a great partner and supporter. Hey, are you guys both going to be there? What's the situation? Can people come talk to you?
I think we land around the same time. One's coming from Austin, one's coming from Philly. We're excited. It was a great show for us last year. We will both be there front and center. We'll bring other key executives to this event. It's a key pillar for our year. So I'll let David close out on it, but we're excited. A lot of good relationship customers, but we've met a lot of new people as well.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. Can't wait to be there, and like the timing. We like it a little bit earlier. It's good. I think that's great. It gives us more time to take advantage of the discussions and meetings we have. But yeah, so we're excited about it and look forward to it. I will say that I know this is out in September, but a shameless plug for our fall book just dropping today, a digital book. So by the time everyone hears this, you should already have that digital book. That's another big opportunity, I think, for decorators to use the materials and collateral we create to help communicate to your customers. So you've already done that by the time you hear this podcast. But we're looking forward to Printing United.
Awesome. Well, guys, yeah. So show notes for all of you listening here is don't worry if you don't have the fall book yet. We will make it easy for all of you listening to get it and to connect with it. If you don't happen to get it at the expo or whatever, don't worry. We'll provide all of the details you need to get a hold of that. And of course, visit apparelist.com. Alpha has also been a great partner for us throughout these podcasts. There's a lot of other great resources that they have provided and offer the community, including their Deco Hub. We also have some, David had shared earlier this year, some good sustainability resources, which is always a favorite topic of mine. So make sure you are tuned in and subscribed to the Apparelist podcast. Guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Enjoyed it.